camera's right there, buddy.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Good.
I haven't seen you for the last 2 hours.
Or something. Anyway.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome.
Field trip night.
It is. I'm super excited.
We would like,
do the intro.
We would like to welcome you to the Field Trip Night, episode 14 of Low Expectations. Tom, where the beer is great.
We're just not, but we're gonna pretend tonight that we are. We're gonna try. We're really trying.
I'm having a good time.
We took notes. We are super prepped for this.
Oh, yeah. Preparation out the wazooski tonight.
This is actually, well, you would know, but the people at home wouldn't. This is the first episode out of 14 that I have ever done actually wearing pants.
True story.
So I'm super excited. It feels a little weird.
I also am pretty excited that Tom's wearing pants tonight.
Yeah. Got pants on tonight?
I'm not.
I'm super excited. No, you don't. He doesn't. And we are at the super impressive Round Guys Brewing Company in
Lansdale, PA.
I have since we've been here, we got here about 6 o'clock?
Yep.
Got here at about 6 o'clock, and I have just been amazed the whole time. They have, and I'm sure you can see a little bit of it in front of me, you can order a flight called All the Beer. So I ordered all the beer.
He literally ordered all the beer.
And I have every single beer that they offer right in front of me.
All the beer.
And I'm actually really, really impressed.
It's like a bridge of beer.
Yeah, it's a really cool beer. Beer bridge.
We'll post a pic later on.
It's an arc. It's awesome. And I'm loving it. I'm really loving every single beer here.
Guess where they can see a picture of the beer bridge? They can visit us on our Facebook page.
We have
AIM
a Facebook
Lowest.
page. Just look for, in groups, look for AIM Lowest. Or facebook.com/groups, AIM Lowest.
They can visit us on Instagram. In fact, that would be a beautiful Instagram picture, aim.lowest.
AIM.lowest, that's correct.
And I know most of them are watching us on YouTube right now, but how can they find us on YouTube?
So on YouTube, it's a little more complicated. If you go to YouTube, you have to search for Low Expectations Beer. Do not do just Low Expectations, you have to do Low Expectations Beer. And if you do that, it's all us.
Yeah, just be careful if you just type Low Expectations. You can go down a weird rabbit hole. Make sure you put beer on there.
Not really. You could be all right.
It'll be okay.
AIM Lowest does not work there yet, but we're working on it. We're trying to figure out this internet thing.
So
we're gonna make it work.
If you join the Facebook group, that's awesome. Invite a friend. If you follow us on Instagram, that's awesome. Throw us some likes and shares. And if you're on YouTube, you know we love the subscribe and likes, right? Subscribe, bink, like, bink. We like all that stuff.
Yeah, do all that.
It makes us feel a little bit better than mediocre.
It helps me wake up on Friday morning. And in the background, you probably can't see him because he hides himself all the time, but we have In the Mix helping us out. They've got crazy amounts of lights.
It's ridiculous.
3 cameras today. Everything, I mean,
I think I saw Scorsese walking around back there.
So In the Mix is here helping us out as usual. He's doing his wizardry. Makes us look way better than we actually are.
All right, listen. Enough about us. We're here. We're here at Round Guys. I think it's time to start talking about the beer and meet the madman who decided it would be a good job to be a brewer when he grew up. Let's invite him in.
All right.
Scott, come on in.
Oh, and you know what else is really weird? We have an audience here. We have people who are here to support us.
Well, I actually paid them.
Oh, that's not in the budget.
Shh, they don't know. I haven't paid them yet.
They're all gonna get a sticker.
Wait, you remember we agreed we'd hold that really close to the camera?
Real close, as close as you can get it.
Ooh, look how
They're all gonna get a big sticker.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having us in.
Yes, thank you so much.
Always like you can't sit down and talk, especially about beer.
You go.
What are you drinking?
Deathbound.
Deathbound.
That's on my list of favorites also.
Deathbound.
Deathbound is one that really blew me away. I
Look,
love
we're
it.
not playing. Tell us a little bit about Deathbound.
Deathbound is it's a beer we've been kind of playing around with for about 2 years. We're calling it a Pillsbock or an Imperial Pils. It's really stylistically not anywhere on the map other than it's like my Bock would be the closest thing, but then we just hopped it up to a regular Pilsner level. So played around, tried to get different formulations together. We use the Weihenstephan yeast. I can't say that word, but it's a yeast, and it's all just very traditional hops, but tried to basically, if I was a German brewer trying to make an IPA and I didn't have access to our kind of hops, what would I make? And it's really simple ingredients. It's Hallertauer hops and Pilsner malt and just time, age, and love.
It's freaking delicious.
It's very familiar, but at the same time, it's something I've never had before. It just gives it's really unique. It's very cool.
I walked right in, looked at the menu, and said, I want to try that.
Thank you.
And I was happy that I did.
Mention the menu before we forget. We'll talk about it again because we forget. But you saw that picture of that burger. It was amazing.
Oh, the food menu.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Food was incredible.
everybody
too.
that voted, thank you. Tom did indeed eat the people's burger, and he liked it.
It was great. It was huge. It was beautiful. We took a picture.
Yeah, everybody at our table tonight, there was like a table of 5 of us. We all threw down burgers. Kudos to the kitchen staff for pumping out some good stuff.
Yes, thank you, kitchen staff. That was
It's
fantastic.
actually COVID that allowed us to do that. So
Yeah.
we've had this equipment back here to do a full kitchen for about 3 years. We just could never get off that hamster wheel of when you shut down and say, I'm going to pay my staff, but I'm going to shut down for 3 weeks to install everything. So that whole process of COVID kind of gave us that moment where we're like, well, we don't know when we're going to reopen, but let's do it. New menu, and we're really happy with what's coming out. So.
It is. It's great. It was fantastic.
All right,
really,
so
really good.
Let's talk about Round Guys for a second. 2012?
Yep.
So almost a decade.
We are finishing year 9, actually March 12th. So we're finishing year 9 and starting year 10, March 13th.
And you didn't go to school to be a brewer. What were you doing before this?
I worked at Merck. I worked at Merck for 11 years. So my career is very. I graduated from Notre Dame with a biology degree. I then went and worked for, if you've ever been in Acme and you see those guys with the little clickers and they're counting inventory,
Yep.
I did that for a year. And then I found a job as a headhunter in the IT industry. So if there's any IT professionals that are between the ages of probably 46 and 60, I may have recruited you and found you a job in the early or the late 1990s, 2000s. And then I worked at Merck. I did vaccine manufacture, quality control. As a matter of fact, one of my jobs was making sure that vaccines weren't cross-contaminated. So when my daughter got the chickenpox vaccine, I was able to go into the system and look and be like, hey, I reviewed that and I approved that. I know that's
I
safe.
said that's okay.
That's safe first.
So, inventory specialist, vaccine, QA guy,
I did supply chain, QA, finance, I did a whole bunch of stuff.
IT
there.
headhunter.
Yeah.
None of those scratched your itch.
No, as a matter of fact, I moved here in '96.
Buffalo guy, right?
Yeah. I moved here in '97. If I had known what beer would have been, I would have wandered down and introduced myself to Tom Kehoe in 1996 and said, "Hey man, can I make beer with you?" But I didn't know back then. They didn't. That wasn't like a viable career. Go to college and become a brewer. It was not a thing.
It's funny though because a couple colleges now offer that as a major.
I'm actually working with Montco Community on a program, advising them on the system and what to do and what to put in and all that kind of stuff. So.
That's awesome.
I remember my son is a sophomore at Penn State right now, and when we were doing the college search, I took him out to App State in North Carolina, and they have a brewer program as a bachelor's degree. So it's kind of cool, but no. So how'd you get here?
So Rich DiLiberto was the other founder.
Yep.
He was sitting at the Note one day, drinking, I think he said Stella Artois, and listening to a bad cover band. And he texted me and said, "We should start a band or open a brewery." And I texted him back and said, "I can't play any instruments." And so that was kind of how I left. And I called him the next day. I'm like, "Are you really serious about this brewery thing?" And he said, "Yeah." And so what I did is I went out to Keystone Homebrew. I bought a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone kit. I brewed it in 5-gallon pot, or the 2.5-gallon pot that then you dilute and put it into a carboy.
Yeah.
It was delicious. It lasted 48 hours because we had a party. My neighbors came over. It was gone. My partner didn't even get a chance to try it. but it was just pure dumb luck. And so I went to my wife at the time and I said, Rich and I are going to open a brewery. And he said, no, you're not. You don't know how to brew beer. I was like, listen, we both can make vaccines that we can inject into children's arms. We think we can make things that adults can put in their belly. We think there's that same base science. And so we started this process of homebrewing. We homebrewed probably 150 to 170 batches over a 2.5-year period of time, slowly scaling up to even we finished with a 55-gallon system. And we entered our beer into homebrew contests. I got BJCP judge certified. So as much as we could, as much feedback, what worked, what didn't.
Sure.
And our third homebrew contest, one of the Grandmaster judges gave us a 45 for our Oktoberfest. Now, the rest of the beers, the judges said, don't ever brew again, you're terrible. But that was like our first 17 batches, we got one gold medal. We said, all right.
It's a win!
Yeah, that's it. We were batting 100, but what the hell. So that's kind of how we got here. Took out a lease on a building. We were collaborating and building with John and Dom from Free Will, Jared and Dan from Forest and Maine, Gene, actually a couple of our tanks, Gene Brulé, he set up a group buy. Free Will bought a tank, we bought a tank, they bought a tank over Retired Hands. And so we were all just kind of sharing information about what we wanted to do and how there was one more brewery that came on at that time. It was Free Will, Owner Chamonix came right at the end. So it was a very interesting time. The only people that had done this before us were Prism and Evil Genius. So Prism was Prism and Evil Genius was doing contract brewing.
Right.
So we were all trying
absolutely
to
kind of like an OG in this area. Which leads me to my next question. How'd you end up here in Lansdale? What was it about this place that made sense?
The dirty politicians lied to me and cajoled me into coming out.
Some payola.
So I live in Doylestown. My kids go to Central Bucks, but I worked at Merck, and my partner lived in Westchester and worked in Delaware. So while Westchester and Lansdale are not equidistant between, what we realized is we needed someone to deal with the facility. I used to come in on my lunch break, unload 2,000 pounds of grain in my khakis and my button down, go back sweaty with grain dust everywhere, go back to my work at Merck, just so we can come back and we can brew on the weekends.
So what you're saying is you didn't do any extensive market research. Lansdale was just geographically desirable?
No, where Well Crafted is over that building, they wanted to give us that, and they said we will lease it to you for 99 years or something like that. The building needed a lot of work. We actually had I forgot Herman, Dad's hat guy. He was originally supposed to come in as a distiller in that building. We were going to do the brewery, and then a friend of mine who used to run Shane McGee's, I don't know if he's in the restaurant industry anymore, he was going to do a restaurant concept in that building.
It's almost like a one-stop shop for everything.
And then the price of putting the stills in was ridiculous. We didn't want to be that building, and I didn't want the government of Lansdale to be my landlord.
Right.
It just didn't seem right. It seemed off. So we kept looking. We were supposed to be down at 810 Main Street, right next to the Domino's. The guy that was going to be our landlord was going to buy the building. It got bought out from underneath him, and so we found this building. He just kind of walked in like, this is a great spot. So it's kind of like, this is the place. But it afforded us the spot. The township was absolutely head over heels. As a matter of fact, the reason why Well Crafted could open here and other breweries in the area, in Lansdale proper, could open is because I got them to change some of the ordinances and some of the laws that they have to say, yes, what's the worst thing that can happen? 2 breweries open up, 3 breweries open up. I got Lansdale to really kind of evolve from that standpoint and really just kind of think about what's best for the town.
And I feel like, because I grew up, my childhood home is down around the corner from here. So I grew up in Lansdale, and I feel like, like many suburban areas, the downtown area went through its downtime, and now it's kind of like experienced a little bit of a renaissance.
When we opened up, so the pretzel factory, which is part of the building, when we opened up, there was a brothel across the street above there.
Who doesn't want a pretzel bite and a?
And not only that, when they busted,
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
when they busted
Just
the guy
don't mix your cheese sauce up.
when they busted the guy that was running the brothel, they went down on Mount Vernon Street, a very well-known, nice neighborhood. They found he was distributing heroin out of his house. 3 blocks over was a meth lab. This was all like when we first opened up, but nobody bugged us. We had no problems with crime, nothing like that. It was Lansdale was a little different when we opened up. It was kind of like. It was kind of like Kensington back in the day, but everybody had their teeth here. It was.
Yay!
Yeah, I would say that's a solid description. That definitely is. So I remember probably 9 years ago when I first visited here, maybe even 10, or no, it wouldn't be 10, 9 or 8. The big thing that you brewed was the Berliner Weiss, and you had 2 different syrups, the green syrup and like the raspberry syrup that you were pouring there. I'm honestly curious how you feel the world has changed with Berliner Weiss. I mean, when you look at all these heavily fruited sours, they're all technically a Berliner, but I mean, it's ridiculous. Do you feel the same way?
So I tend to be very much a purist, or very much I tend to pick traditional styles. We do experiment with fruit and adjuncts in beer, but I got into this because I like brewing a ton of different styles of beer. That's just me. I remember taking my BJCP class, and it's over at Iron Hill, and getting like their 9 of Diamonds, which was their strong Scottish ale at the time. They're wee heavy at the time, and like having to remind them I only want a 12-ounce glass, not the 22-ounce mug. I gotta study and I gotta drive home. So that's what actually got me into craft beer. If I can do a quick segue, is when I went to college, Honey Brown kind of came out.
Yeah.
And so I bring a case of Honey Brown back from Buffalo out to Notre Dame. We would each have 2 of those, and then we'd drink whatever crap beer you got from the party, whether it be Rhinelander, or Hams out there, or the Beast, whatever. That's. But then I visited a friend of mine who was living in Newcastle, and I ran into a beer called Old Peculiar by the Theakston Brewery, and it's an old ale is the style, and I just drank a ton of it, and I was like, I didn't realize that dark beers didn't have to be Guinness. And then and the first legal 4-pack or 6-pack I ever bought was Pete's Wicked Ale. I was 21. I went into a beer distributor, and first thing I bought was Pete's Wicked Ale. So I always liked a lot of different styles. It was never a.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I didn't think of that. But we talk about this all the time. So if you had to pick, what was your craft gateway beer?
Arrogant Bastard.
Okay, nice.
Arrogant Bastard. I was sitting at. It's now the Red Cedar Grill, but it used to be the old Wing Walker.
Yep.
I was in there, and the guy was playing with a bottle or something like that. Can I see that? And I saw "You're not worthy of this beer. You're not." I was like, yes, I am. So cracked it open.
You don't know me.
Cracked it open. It kicked my butt. I was like, this is the most bitter, thing I've ever had in my life. And I drank it, and then they had something problem. They opened up a second one, and they offered me a second one. And I'm like, I can't drink that much beer. Same thing happened with Double Simcoe IPA. The first time I had it, this is the worst thing I've ever had in my life.
Beer.
And then I was buying it by the caseload.
That was like a punch in the face. That Double Simcoe.
Well, he mentioned wee heavy, and normally a wee heavy is a wee bit heavy for me.
You've
a little
this.
too peaty.
Yeah.
This one blew me away. It's on my list of ones that I really loved. It's Iron Tusk, and I would recommend this one. I would definitely order this again.
I
was really
wanted to
impressed
drink
by
one of
the
those, but it is 10+%. So
well, you're driving me home.
I'm treading lightly this evening. So what's your gateway? What was your gateway beer?
Eyinger Urweiss. Bought it by the case at Shangy's, and I cannot drink it anymore. It used to just be, it was beautiful. It was a beer, and it tasted like bananas and cloves, and there was such explosions of flavor. And
Do you like Bill's banana bread too?
I hadn't had it until years later.
Okay.
But I saw this super expensive case of beer. I must have just gotten a good paycheck and was like, I'm just gonna buy this super pricey beer, and I fell in love with it. And it was all I drank for a good 2 years.
I thought I was super cool because my local distributor had the import mix pack. It was 8 bottles of Peroni, 8 bottles of Urquell, and then 8 bottles of some Polish beer. And I thought I was so cool drinking that. That's what I consider my craft gateway, because it got me out of the bush pound.
Okay, well it did. Yeah, I mean there's nothing wrong with that.
Growing up in Buffalo, it was the special beer. Everybody would always once in a while bring out Moosehead, and that would be the one that when the premium beers.
What was like the special edition Moosehead, like the up alcohol Moosehead?
The one that came in the wooden box.
It was something. It was something.
So we've had a couple comment. I was looking at David Archer here. He wants to know how Tangerine Swords is.
I haven't had it yet.
We haven't had it yet. However,
I guess I'm opening and pouring, or Scott can open and pour for us.
we have a can of Tangerine Swords to try. It is not on tap yet, but we do have a can to give a try. So,
Tangerine Swords.
Tangerine Swords. Yeah, that's the normal pour cam. We're a little out of our element here. We've got 3 cameras going, so we don't know which camera to go to.
A little bit discombobulated, but we'll live.
Yeah. Super excited. This is a really fun experience so
Absolutely.
far. Having a great time.
You guys can't see it, but wait till we post all the beer. Like, Scott, how many people order that? Does that happen a lot?
We usually do about 35 to 40 a month.
Wow.
It's a giant pain in the butt for the bartenders, but what generally happens is once you sit that down in front of a couple, they're good for 45 minutes. So it's
Yeah, I mean, that's bartending's dirty little secret. We don't like flights.
Oh no, why would you? But I gotta tell you, the Tangerine Sword smells amazing.
Yeah, super nose on that.
Oh, if it tastes half as good, it's gonna be.
Tell us about this beer.
So obviously we're really well known for liquid swords. It's kind of our.
That's good.
I would never compare us to like Levante, but they have tickle parts and extra tickle parts and all that. So Liquid Sword is kind of our leader whenever we go into any kind of a distribution setting. It has a badass label. It was actually John Comerford, who works for 31st and Wharton. He's the one that actually drew that for us. He's done a bunch of our labels.
Is that for sale right now, or is that soon to be for sale?
It's in there. It's in there. Yeah.
That's got a little Mortal Kombat vibe.
So
It's rating with an iPod, man.
there you go.
It's rating with an iPod.
We have some friends here, and I know you guys are going to eventually leave. Do not leave until you try that, because you're going to buy some before you leave.
So
Wow.
Liquid Swords, we did back in. So real quick, Round Guys and IPAs. When we opened, I was not planning to make an IPA. Part of the reason behind that was I knew with the system we have, it would be crappy. We hadn't figured everything out. We didn't have all of our process done. So we waited for a while to do that. And we wanted to launch with Kiss Off, which was a Citra Mosaic blend, and it did very well for us. And right around when the adjuncts and the I wouldn't say hazy, it was right around when the hazy milkshake was starting. We did 5 different double IPAs. We did Man Machine Poem, Venom Radio, Dank Janky, Edge Crusher, and Liquid Swords. And after brewing them for about 4 or 5 batches each, Liquid Swords was just hands down the one that everybody liked. And so we started just brewing that beer as much as possible, trying to get as much as we could out there, and just kind of our unofficial flagship beer. So it's we just brewed it today. We're brewing it on Monday. It is all Pilsner and flake maize and regular table sugar. That's all in the grist. And then we do about half a pound of hops in the bittering. And then we do everything else is Whirlpool, and then we dry hop with Calypso, Cascade, and Citra.
It's really clean.
It's fantastic. It's really good. I would say it puts it up there with. I really enjoyed the apricot session that was on. That was really good. And then the other one I wanted to pull up, Professor Booty. Professor Booty is another IPA, which is I enjoy Professor Booty. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Fire one off.
I'm trying not to.
I set you up for it.
I'm trying not to. Zach would be disappointed.
Oh.
So I refuse to. No, I won't do it. I refuse to accept the bait. But Professor Moody's good. What is Professor Moody? I haven't had it yet.
It's a delicious IPA.
Is it?
Yeah. It's It's something that we, so Ken, who's our production manager, it's the first recipe he came up with. So it's flaked oats, flaked wheat, wheat malt, Pilsner, and then a bunch of hops. There's some experimental hops. One that was, it's Sabro now, but it was something else. Not Sabro, Sultana. It was Sultana, and then trying to remember the other one.
I've seen Sultana popping its head up more and more lately.
There's a hop in there that I can't place it. It's something different, but it's good. It's very good.
We are, Hopsteiner basically owns us because we have contracts with them of way too many hops for. That's like Edge Crusher. It wasn't that I really wanted to make that beer. It's just that it's so much Nugget and so much Bravo hops that I had to do something.
I would love to do a follow-up show where you can talk to me about hop contracts because it's crazy.
Yeah,
you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
And you know, there's certain breweries that I'm a fan of.
Yes.
That I can absolutely tell. Oh, they must have signed a huge New Zealand hops contract here because that's all they brewed for the last 2 months. Like you can sometimes really tell what's going on with the hop contract.
And we tried when we first opened because when we opened there was the hop crisis. So that was the other reason I didn't want to go heavy into hops was because the price of the hops was so high.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make something I couldn't get my hands on.
Right.
But then when we signed with Hopsteiner, it's 220 pounds of hops per contract. So I'm sitting on 220-pound hops of Columbus. And I was joking with Jeremy from the Chamonix one time. I was like, you know what? I said, I know you have John. We're gonna make Jock. I hope you don't mind. he's like, you do that, there's gonna be problems. In Jeremy's way, like it's kind of like fun with that. He was serious but not serious but not serious. But yeah, so a lot of our original beers were all founded on that fact that I have $23,000 worth of hops I have to use per year from Hopsteiner. I only use 10,000 per year. So there's that gap. So sometimes we don't have the sexy hops in our beer. So that's when we try to take a lot of the principles of New England style, lots of double dry hopping, lots of late whirlpool hopping, to pull flavors out of there that most people would be like, well, Bravo, we try to get as much as we can out of that hop. That's what we try to do. So
that's cool.
It's fascinating. Where do you stand on the Sabro hop?
Well, we do make a cranberry orange coconut IPA, so we'll definitely be using Sabro.
No, personally, how do you?
I've had.
It's very polarizing.
It is. The only beer I've ever had that I know of with Sabro in it was a homebrew that Ken brought in. It's weird. Ken's an amazing brewer. He has celiac disease, so he can't drink anything he makes.
That's like.
Whoa.
He must have been a really bad person in his last life.
But he brought me a gluten-free beer that was amazing. He brought a hazy with Sabro. It was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed it tremendously. But I don't know what is the I don't. Because I'm dealing with contracts of Nugget and Bravo and Apollo, why is Sabro so polarized?
Because of that coconut profile. Okay. And apparently coconut is a very polarizing flavor. People either hate it or they love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. I'm on the love it side.
We make a beer called I'm So Fancy. It's one of our drag queen beers. And it's it was supposed to be a Malibu Bay Breeze IPA. So we already made the decision that that's going to get as much Sabro as we can shove in there.
Makes perfect sense.
All right, so you mentioned drag queens. Can you fill people in who don't understand
how that fits into
this part of Lansdale and what you have?
So the whole drag queen thing. I used to have an employee, Heidi. She was from Britain, and
she's fabulous.
She came in and she was bartending, and one day she's like, "You've got to meet this guy Derek. You've got to do a drag show." And I was like, I don't know, drag shows, Lansdale. I don't know.
They just shut the meth lab down.
What are we gonna do?
It's just a perfect fit. It's so cool.
So Derek came in one time and we tried it. We do occasionally Kinky Quizzo, and the Kinky Quizzo the first one we did. Derek came in and we had a great time. So we started doing that quarterly. And then it was funny. The first time we had Derek come in. So if you guys have never met Derek is 6'2", probably somewhere between 350 and 420 pounds. in heels with a tiara and a wig. He's about 7 feet tall, and wears a size like 16 women's heel.
Is he Patty?
No, no, he's fancy dismount.
Okay.
Because he always sticks the landing. There's a whole story where that came from.
And I feel like if you didn't throw that in, he'd be mad at you.
So the first time we were doing Kiki Quizzo, we had a table here with a family, a 7-year-old kid and a mom and a dad, and he like walks by, and when they walked in, we're like, put them first too, so they have to leave. And there's an older couple sitting right along the wall. We walked up like, you know what we're doing? They're gonna be in their mid-60s. You know we're doing Kiki Quizzo tonight? And like, yes, that's why we're here. I'm like, oh god.
All right, awesome.
Ding, ding, ding.
So anyway, we did the Kiki Quizzo for a while, and then I asked Derek to do a full drag show. He's like, I don't think you want to do that. I'm like, yes, we do want to do a full drag show. And we used to do drag shows in here. Derek would be set up by the takeout fridge with music, and like probably by like the 4th drag show, at one point we had 135 people in here. Ray Liberto's is our door guy, and he actually came up and was like, we need a door person because you're way past fire capacity, and it just took off, and we actually opened the underground purely to service drag shows because we'd have a full bar and we'd have to tell everybody, well, here's your check. I'm like, well, I don't want to leave. I'm like, but you have to. We have a drag show coming. Like, I'd like to watch that. I'm like, we already sold out.
So what's the underground for people who don't know?
So the underground is a live entertainment venue that we opened up at 408 West Main Street. Unfortunately, COVID closed it.
Yes.
And right now it's looking for a home. We're hoping that as we move all the brewery stuff out, we can redo the underground over there, or we're looking for another building. But Matt Adams from Backyard Beans bought the building, and us continuing to run the underground while he's trying to expand his coffee shop business, it just wasn't a really good fit. So the fact that I can't pack 120 people in like sardines and have drag queens dance around and accept dollar bills with their mouth and do lap dances, like that's one of those things that I can't.
It's one of
doing COVID.
One of life's great regrets.
But it's coming back someday.
It is, and it's
coming back.
And it's funny for people who are like, drag shows not my thing. My father, who's a gym teacher and is 76 years old, has been to 4 of them. He's driven from Buffalo, brought friends to come to the drag shows.
So basically what they're saying is fun is not my thing.
I absolutely love the story. I think it's so much fun.
Well,
you should come to one.
Yeah, and I'm just really sad that space went away, because that space.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I love that space.
Yeah.
And I can tell you're sad too.
But,
so we'll move on.
But another business expanded into it, and it'll come back.
Okay.
But and we have other like the underground. Actually, what I'm looking to do is we're thinking it might just need to move into a non-profit space, because the concept of the underground was to help original entertainers showcase their art. And so,
cool.
We don't do Billy Joel cover bands at the underground. We didn't do we did some covers, but the idea was to allow. So like Go Commander didn't play over there, sorry. Nathan told me he was a Go Commander. It's been so many years since he played here, but we really wanted to showcase. And before we had to close the underground, before the governor shut us down, we had Tempest scheduled to play. We had Tantric scheduled to play. We had Noah Guthrie, who was season 5 of Glee, or season 6 of Glee. So we had some legit people. Who's the guy that does In Your Eyes? He's from Harrisburg.
Jeffrey Gaines.
Jeffrey Gaines played twice at our place.
Yeah.
Joe Jack Talcum from Dead Milkmen.
Yeah.
He used to be a regular over there. So
such a cool space.
Yeah.
Such a cool space.
We just want to continue that in some way, shape, or form. We feel a non-profit is the best way to do it. Get members and get people supporting.
I feel like you got a really close tie to music.
I do. Yeah. I can't play it, but I love it.
No, but I feel like just in a lot of the beers you put, like I know you do that last waltz every year, and that's really important to you. What's the big connection with music?
Sanctified Belgian Tripel. Just finished it. It was really good.
So the whole music thing started from the whole original thing. We should start a band or open a brewery.
Yep.
That was where it started. And I did play music as a kid. I just never followed it. Football, wrestling, big collision sports, lacrosse. That's what I was into. But trying to name beers is an incredible. You come up with a really funny name, and then you think it's a really funny joke, and you tell your friends about it, and then you're at a beer fest, or you're sitting at a bar, and you're trying to explain to somebody what banana hammock saison means, and why you named it, and it sounded really funny at the time, but then you get so what we found is
It's excruciating.
The first beer that we really did this with was Kiss Off, and the reason was because of personal situations with Rich and I, he wanted to leave the business. And not getting into what happened in detail, I was really mad at him. And Kiss Off by the Violent Femmes was playing on the radio. And I was like, I'm going to make a beer called Kiss Off. It's kind of my, my FU to my former partner. And then we started doing that, and I love the Pixies, so we did the baser. And what I found is a lot of the people that were buying beer were in their late 30s and 40s, and I'm like, hey, we have this new double IPA, debaser. I'm like, is that named after the Pixies? Yeah, I'll take 3 cases. So, and then we would do things like, we'd let our customers sometimes suggest, we did Beast of Burden. We would do different things like that. And so now the customer can have a connection. We've had some people come in like, so is this beer named after this? And they start to guess, and it brings that in. And I don't have to, because originally all of our beer names were dick and fart jokes, frat boy humor, and or like puns, or that kind of stuff. And it's just hard.
I don't see a problem, but
after a while, it just got hard. It hard to find that voice, and music, along with what we love and being around. Music, CDs, records are all around. So it just kind of all kind of came into place.
I'm enjoying the Grammy-nominated Professor Booty tonight.
So when I homebrew, my rule is that every beer, and it's really tough to stick to, I totally understand, every beer must be a riff on a Sean Connery movie. Every single beer I make. So it's really hard to go through that list of beers and name a beer somewhat like...
Well, we did the last beer. What was the Sean Connery riff?
That was a collab. I couldn't name it.
You should start doing his fun comments from Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yes. Yes.
Suck it, Trebek.
So the brewery is Tom Schkock Brewing, but it has to be said in a Connery accent.
Tom Schkock.
Right. Once you get it in your mouth, you
can't put it down.
And then it just escalates from there. But yeah.
All right. So real quick, where did Professor Booty come from?
We didn't have a Beastie Boys named beer, so what we usually tell our if our staff or someone comes up with a beer, we'll say that's fine. But now COVID has kind of pivoted us to it has to be something that can be represented artwork wise. So our branding process, what we do is we come up with a beer name, we come up with a vision for what the artwork would look like, or a rough idea, and then we actually get original artwork. So every one of our can labels is original artwork from an artist. We pay them a rather handsome sum per offering with the rights, then we own it. But that's our way of connecting to the art community. So something like Professor Booty, we'll sometimes give them the lyrics and say, read the lyrics and design something that you'd like.
Awesome.
So one, like for instance, we're doing we have a guy, Dan Yowell, he's out in Phoenixville. He came in one day and did a doodle, which became our Chronomancer label. Didn't know it sat on the wall for like 2 years, and then finally we wanted to upgrade our label.
It's cool.
And so now Dan's done he's done about 6 labels for us, and we just give him ideas. Like he did Headmaster's Ritual and Ancient Water. We use different artists for different concepts.
So on this subject, any C&D?
No,
not one.
Not
So
one.
we have 5 more minutes.
Not a single one.
Congratulations.
Including Liquid
40
Swords,
minutes in?
which has
40
been made by
So are we 40 in now?
what's their main brewery? That's Oxbow. Oxbow has Liquid Swords, but it's blueberry sour.
Where are they out of?
Maine, some Portland, Maine, somewhere there. Oxbow. So, and they didn't distribute it here, and we did get a few. We got a few people that were upset that we would dare to make a beer the same name as Oxbow Brewing Company, and we're like, whatever. If they want us to change
As
it,
long as you're not an attorney, whatever.
Well, people ask me all the time, like, aren't you worried? Like, I know if Gordon Gano from Violent Femmes knew that we were using Kiss Off, and we were saying it's a Violent Femmes thing, I know you'd all be all pissed off. But if that happened, I would love it. Like,
Yeah.
C&D from a major. If I had it, there'd be posters on the wall of all the C&Ds. But we also local artists too. We would make beers with them. So Bumblebee Weed is the Stereotitans. They have a song called Bumblebee Weed. We did Get Into It, which is a band called Riverside Odds. We did a beer by Amora. We actually had them come in and design it with us. So sometimes it's fun to work with in that space. But
So our fans at home are saying, we want to hear more about your beer.
okay.
But the problem is,
Yes.
if we're gonna stick to what what we said we would stick to, we've only got 5 or 10 minutes left.
And he's a compelling guy. He drew me in.
I'm all in. I'm just telling you, he was very strict. Very strict.
Guys, listen, he's holding up the paper because he yelled at me and said, you gotta stop freestyling. You gotta come up with a structure. I come up with a structure and now he's not happy about the structure. We're just going. We got him. We're going.
Okay, then we're going.
All right. So, favorite beer you ever made?
That's a good one. That's on my list.
Don't tell me it's like picking a favorite child. I don't believe it. You have a favorite.
Father Oblivion.
What was it?
It was.
What is it?
It was and is. It's Sanctified, that we age in white wine barrels with Brettsy, and then it comes out. It's inspired by Nebraska's Melange à Trois, their barrel-aged triple. That's kind of what was inspired that. I was actually judging at a Great American Beer Fest, and that's like it was a perfect.
Do you remember when Nebraska was like the pinnacle? Wow.
So I have a similar question. I don't want to know what your favorite beer is. I want to know the beer as Round Guys. What are you proudest of? What beer?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah.
I mean,
It might not be your favorite, but what?
Yeah.
I think what I'm. So in the moment, what I'm proudest of is a beer like Deathbound, because it's a nuanced, special beer to make. I follow. When I was a kid, I had a coach that said, be careful what you read in the press because it's like poison. It can only kill you if you swallow it. And so a lot of times, whether something's hyped or not hyped, I tend not to follow that. But things like when I talk to other people about collaborating on a beer, and they say, well, we really don't want to do a Russian Imperial Stout because that's kind of your thing, and we don't want to step on that. We really like it. I enjoy that. But my favorite beer that I'm probably most proud of is the Lansdale Lager. It's a straight up Hellas. It's a straight up, it's something that it keeps the lights on in pre-COVID
And it's a very unforgiving beer.
Yeah.
By unforgiving, I mean there's nothing to hide behind.
Oh no, it's crisp and clean and it's good.
It either is or it isn't.
Yeah, and we actually when COVID hit, we actually had to dump 20 barrels of it. It stayed in the tank too long. We tasted it and like this is just like we can't even pretend. And but that's what you have to do. You have to dump that. But I like those styles where like a wee heavy. There's not much to hide behind. It's malt and a little bit of yeast characteristic. And you mentioned the peat. We didn't do the peated kind. There's two kinds: the peated and the non-peated. But that's kind of what we. Those are the things that I look forward to, making those multi styles where just that one customer comes up and is like, I have not had this in a long time, and this is fantastic.
It's good. So I have been incredibly impressed with every beer that was here. Really,
And he's drank them all.
I tasted all 20 beers that are here. I had low expectations. I wasn't sure what to expect, and I have been absolutely blown away. But I am super disappointed. Like, almost crushed. Like,
I know where he's going, Scott. Get ready.
I'm going to go home sad about this.
Get ready, Scott.
Because on the way here, I was just reading some things to be, filling him in on some info.
And he was a little giddy about this
And I was super excited. So when I got here, I found out that the barrel-aged Oreo and vanilla stout is not available until Oreo Day, which is what day? Saturday. So I'm gonna have to come back next week and pick some up.
It might not be here. There's not a lot, right?
Yes, the story behind that was a collab with. It was a collaboration with we do every year we used to give a Mug Club member an opportunity to brew their own beer. So this guy Brendan Trotovich wanted to make this sweet stout, and we actually broke it up into 3 different barrels. We did a tequila and ginger. We did the oatmeal bourbon barrel aged. There's a third one off the top of my head, it escapes me. And I was telling B that the Oreo vanilla ones were awesome. We used the yeast that we had not used before to bottle condition the other ones.
Story.
And our assistant brewer was like, I took some of the low fill bottles home and they exploded. These were Belgian bottles. I'm like, that's impossible. The bottles will explode. And so we opened a couple, and corks were hitting the ceiling. So we made a really big batch of it. But because we used the yeast that has amylase enzyme in it, which we didn't know about, we just like, grab that yeast. Most of that didn't see the light of day. We put it aside. So we're definitely going to make it again. We're definitely going to have an opportunity to get that out because it was really well received. Being COVID, we're looking for events. We had some of it on draft. We had a couple bottles left, and it was National Oreo Day. Who doesn't like deep fried Oreos? So it was just something we threw together.
It is awesome.
Commies don't like deep fried Oreos.
It's an incredible idea. So really, that is the only thing that disappointed me was there was not one more out of 20 beers.
But the good news is, it'll be here Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'll run over.
So Saturday for
I'll run over
Oreo
Saturday
Day.
and I'll put some in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it home for you.
Bring a canteen.
Yeah.
Fill it up.
A flask. Can you fill this bucket, sir?
Which is also Scott mentioned.
You're gonna
the mug club.
You're gonna get a preview.
But I want to.
That's why Dan is fantastic.
I don't know if you can see the mugs behind us, but there's a whole wall of mugs, and we have not asked this. We're curious. How does the mug club work here? What's involved with it?
So the mug club is you pay $60 for the year. You get 12 free beers, whatever ones you want. It used to be we'd make a specific beer, but the big guy's like, I really don't want a lavender cucumber IPA. Can I just have Sanctified?
Yeah.
And so we just decided that we'd give the customer more agency. If you love Tangerine Liquid Swords and you want to come in 12 times in March and have 12 mugs of Tangerine Liquid Swords, there you go. But you're basically paying $5 for a 19-ounce mug. You're paying $5 per 19-ounce mug in advance, and then you get 10% off all crowlers, all beer takeout, and then anytime you buy a pint, you get it in the bigger mug, and then you can sign up for our loyalty rewards program, which is every $100 you spend on food, merchandise, or whatever, you get $5 back. So.
That's a good mug club.
It sounds like just the mugs alone, I'm stealing money from you.
I mean, that sounds like a good Saturday night to me. It doesn't have to go all year.
That's the Schmug Club.
And then we do it at the end of the year. Usually on January 1st, we'll have a big mug club member party. You come in, you get your old mug, the 2021 mug, and then we put the new mugs up, and that's just kind of
Listen, you people out there.
Are there openings?
Always, yeah.
I can't tell you how good the beers have been tonight. The beers have been fantastic.
So,
and you know us. We're pretentious. We're douchebags.
we are, and we say this. We say this all the time. No one pays for us to come here. We are here. We bought our dinner. We bought our beer. We're here because we wanted to be here, and it was an absolutely phenomenal experience.
Yeah, it's been great from start to finish. Fantastic.
You should definitely come here. This has been fantastic.
So, summertime, you've got outdoor seating.
A lot of it.
You've got indoor seating.
Yeah.
Our first Friday is going to happen again?
I have knowledge of that, but it's going to.
Just give me a general prediction.
Cross your fingers and hope. Yeah.
So, if you don't know what we're talking about, first Friday in every month in the summertime in Lansdale,
it's like April to October.
It's like a big block party down here.
They shut the main road down. It's fantastic.
It's a
Bands
blast.
outside. We also have bike night. We have other Lansdale cruise night, all that kind of stuff. Then as fact, the outside, by the time it's maybe April or May, we'll have a 40-foot covered canopy, like permanent structure. So if it's raining and it's like 7 degrees out, and you want a really great beer and you want to drink outside, we'll have a covered permanent structure.
So I have vague memories of bands playing out here.
Yes.
Was that you?
No.
Discover
Lansdale does that. Discover Lansdale does. Thanks, Dave. Discover Lansdale does the.
Thank you so much, Dave.
You were just geographically desirable, and that's why they put you here.
So, you're talking about why Lansdale. So, Stove and Tap is here.
Yep.
Because of us. Boardroom is here because of us. And Well Crafted opened here because there was a scene here already. So when they started the first Fridays, they decided to put a band here because what's easier to attract people to come into town than a brewery where you can take cups of beer outside and hang out outside for 3 hours, listen to music, do other things. So we just became that spot, and we're kind of grandfathered.
Well, here's the Lansdale for getting it.
Yeah.
Cheers. There's a reason why they call breweries an anchor business, because they anchor the community and they just give back. Other businesses pop up to support the brewery business.
We're basically a non-profit, is what we are. So here's the reinvention, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm getting eyes from our support over there. You're gonna let me have some of that, right?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Oh, it smells yummy, dude.
Smells good.
What kind of barrels?
Buffalo Trace.
Well, that's terrible.
Crazy flavor. Really, really good flavor.
And
for a stout, it's light in body, which means there's nothing wrong with that. You know I've said that many times.
Yep.
It's lighter in body, but the flavor is crazy.
Well, that's 10%. So.
Which is also
wow.
crazy.
One of the things people will find
it smells so good. It's so wonderful.
Most of our high ABV beers is we really hide the alcohol well. It's
that Imperial Pilsner tastes like a 4 or 5% beer.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, whether it's the water, whether it's the fermentation profile, we just tend to hide it well.
We don't have the close-up cam, but for our lacing snobs, very beautiful
there
lacing. It's very nice. We know you look for it.
It's there, though, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I have a huge problem with that. These glasses have all been cleaned, every one of them.
No DMG. No
every single glass, yep.
DGM, my bad.
You're good. Wow, come get this on Saturday.
So you have 1 minute. Talk to the camera. What should the people know about you and your place?
We're a place that's really open to everybody. We love to come in and talk about our beer. We love trying to find a beer that you like. So not everything on our list might be your style, but we'll find something for you. That's why we try to brew as much as we do, and we just like to have people here. We're about community. We're about the beer community. We help other breweries. We can for other breweries that don't have canning machines. They bring their kegs to us, and we can for them to help them out during COVID, and we charge them cost. We're not charging them for profit. We just try to work together with other breweries and do the best we can for the community.
That's awesome. And what I'd like to say is, literally, the definition of OG is this guy right here.
Yeah.
He has been around
almost a decade.
I went to him a number of years ago and said, buddy, because you know me, and my birthday, and my insecurities.
I do.
He let me throw my birthday party here a couple years. Right before, I work at a brewery, and right before that brewery opened about 3 or 4 years ago, I had this idea of how cool it would be to get a bunch of different brewers together and just kind of have like an underground brewer party. And Scott was like, yeah, you can use the underground. Let's have a party in the underground. We had this amazing brewers party in the underground. It was like a big bottle share with all the local breweries got together. It was fantastic. So,
and we brought the Hammer of Glory too.
He did get that. He did get Philly's Beer Week Hammer of Glory. That's right. That was a great night. In a nutshell, this guy, you throw an idea at him, he's like, yeah, let's try and make that happen because it'll be fun.
And I honestly know far less about Round Guys, except for I can tell you my experience from years past to now. These beers have evolved so much. If you have not been here, you should absolutely come here. I want to come here with you. Tell me when you're coming. I'll come back here.
Yeah, once
the food was killer. I want just get back here.
Well, once we can start doing stuff again, where we don't have any rules involved.
It's so close.
I would love to flood this place with low expectations.
The outside?
And have a big party.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. Like whatever. Again, it's about having fun. That's what this industry is about. So
because it should be fun, right?
Yeah.
So we should totally wrap it up.
Yep. I want to say thank you, Scott.
No problem.
Thanks for hosting us
so
tonight.
much.
We
Cheers
totally
to you,
appreciate
sir.
you having us here. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been around Guys in Lansdale, get here as soon as you can.
Really?
Because you are going to love multiple things on the menu. And once again, thanks for spending your Thursday night. We don't deserve it. Do we deserve Thursday night?
No, we don't deserve your time, but thank you so much for spending it with us. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
And I look forward to next week where I will not be wearing pants again.
I might. Bye.
So everyone will see you. Thank you so much. No after party tonight
No,
because
no.
we got to clean all this up.
Yeah, no detention.
So you can open detention by yourselves, but we're not going to be there because we got cleanup to do.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
So have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much, guys.